From his earliest days, Franklin Delano Roosevelt seemed destined for a life of privilege and power. Born into one of New York's wealthiest families in 1882, he grew up surrounded by opportunity, education, and expectations. He attended elite schools, excelled academically, and entered Harvard, where he developed a keen sense of public service and politics. His early life was marked by confidence, mobility, and a sense that he could accomplish anything he set his mind to. By 1910, Roosevelt was already building a reputation as a promising politician. Elected to the New York State Senate, he showed intelligence, charisma, and strategic skill. He married Eleanor Roosevelt in 1905, and together they projected the image of a young, energetic political couple, ready to influence the nation. At this stage, Franklin was physically active, athletic, and fully able-bodied, a man whose presence alone commanded attention and respect. Then, in the summer of 1921, everything changed. At the age of 39, Roosevelt experienced the onset of a sudden and devastating illness. What began with weakness and fever quickly escalated into paralysis, leaving him unable to move his legs. For decades, the illness was thought to be poliomyelitis, commonly known as polio. Recent research has suggested it may have been Guillain-Barré syndrome, an autoimmune disorder with similar symptoms, but the result was the same: permanent paralysis from the waist down. This was a life-altering event. Franklin Roosevelt, once a man of vigor and mobility, faced the harsh reality that he could no longer walk. The psychological impact was profound. The confident young politician had to confront a body that no longer obeyed him, and he entered a period of intense personal struggle. The physical limitations were only part of the challenge. The public perception of weakness in a man pursuing political power posed a far greater obstacle. Determined not to allow his paralysis to define or destroy him, Roosevelt turned to innovative methods to maintain his independence and public image. He learned to move with the help of heavy steel braces, canes, and carefully practiced motions. In photographs, he would be positioned strategically, often standing while leaning on a podium or assistant, creating the illusion of mobility. He refused to be seen in a wheelchair publicly, a tool that became symbolic of both concealment and resilience. One of Roosevelt's most important refuges was Warm Springs, Georgia. There, he discovered natural hot springs that provided relief and a sense of freedom. He purchased a property and established a rehabilitation center, dedicating much of his time to physical therapy in the water. Swimming and exercising in the therapeutic pools allowed him moments of mobility he could not achieve elsewhere. Warm Springs also became a retreat where Roosevelt could reflect, plan, and recover his mental strength away from the scrutiny of politics. Despite his personal limitations, Roosevelt's political career continued to advance. He served as Assistant Secretary of the Navy during World War I, gaining experience in leadership and administration. In 1928, he was elected governor of New York, proving that his paralysis did not prevent him from winning public trust or commanding authority. During his tenure, he implemented progressive policies and managed crises with intelligence and determination, demonstrating that his disability was not a barrier to achievement. In 1932, amid the Great Depression, Roosevelt ran for president. The economic collapse had left millions of Americans desperate, and they needed a leader who could inspire hope and confidence. His polio, carefully hidden from the public eye, did not prevent him from connecting with the nation. Roosevelt's charisma, vision, and ability to communicate through speeches and the emerging medium of radio helped him overcome any perception of weakness. The image of the strong, resolute leader was carefully cultivated, and the American people responded. Roosevelt's presidency was defined by monumental challenges. The Great Depression required bold and innovative policies, which he implemented through the New Deal. He understood the needs of struggling Americans in a way few leaders could, and many historians argue that his personal experience with suffering and vulnerability enhanced his empathy and problem-solving abilities. The physical weakness that could have been a limitation became, in some respects, a source of insight into human hardship. During World War II, Roosevelt's leadership faced unprecedented trials. As commander-in-chief, he coordinated strategies with generals and allies, navigating the complex demands of global conflict. The stress and responsibility were immense, yet his determination remained unwavering. His inability to walk did not diminish his presence. In meetings, speeches, and public appearances, he projected authority, intellect, and resilience. For the nation, FDR became a symbol of enduring strength, a leader whose personal struggle mirrored the challenges facing the country. Maintaining the secrecy of his condition was an ongoing effort. Photographers, journalists, and aides worked carefully to avoid capturing images of Roosevelt in vulnerable positions. Public appearances were meticulously staged, and aides assisted discreetly behind the scenes. The balance between concealing weakness and demonstrating leadership required constant attention. Yet, Roosevelt mastered this balancing act, demonstrating extraordinary personal discipline and strategic thinking. Roosevelt's story is not only about physical disability, but about the transformation of adversity into leadership. His paralyzing illness reshaped his character, instilling patience, empathy, and resilience. It forced him to confront limitations directly, and in doing so, he cultivated a style of leadership that combined personal vulnerability with decisive action. He became a master of communication, inspiring a nation during its darkest hours. His presidency also challenged perceptions of ability and strength. In an era when physical vigor was often equated with leadership capability, Roosevelt redefined what it meant to lead. He showed that intellect, empathy, and vision could outweigh physical limitations, a lesson that continues to resonate today. His example inspired generations, proving that personal adversity could coexist with extraordinary public achievement. Even at the end of his life, Roosevelt remained deeply committed to his role. He served 4 terms, guiding the United States through economic collapse and global war. He died in 1945, still in office, leaving behind a legacy that intertwined personal struggle and national triumph. His story remains a testament to the human capacity to overcome, adapt, and inspire, even when confronted with challenges that seem insurmountable. FDR's paralysis was not merely a footnote in history. It was a defining element of his character, his presidency, and his impact on the world. By confronting physical vulnerability, he revealed a deeper strength, a determination to serve, lead, and transform. The nation responded, and the world witnessed a president who transcended personal limitation to shape history itself. In the end, the truth about FDR's paralysis is not simply that he could not walk. The truth is that he rose above it, demonstrating that leadership is as much about resilience and vision as it is about physical capability. His life remains a reminder that the human spirit can prevail even in the face of profound personal hardship.